Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. From the deepest jungles to the outmost reaches of space and beyond the veils of death itself, the Bald and Bonkers boys are back for another episode. It's no secret that you won't know what will happen next, but Dakota Franson and Chris Mole promise that all bets are off. Viewer discretion and straitjackets advised. These two idiots live up to the name.
What have you done?
Nothing.
You've done something.
Why are you
You've
assuming
done
I did something?
Yeah, because
Why
you've
is
done
everybody
something.
treating me like I'm such a nasty dick that just always up to something?
Because you're.
I'm a nasty dick.
No, everybody loves you, Dakota. Question: what have you done? Is it me with the banana?
Nothing.
Is it? Have you
I have
put?
not done a
Is it a
thing.
t-shirt? Is it a
I have
t-shirt?
not done a thing.
Look, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't even know if I'm.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Sunday.
Picture.
Happy Sunday. You know.
I wouldn't know if it was happy, but hey.
I don't know. They're officially frozen. This episode is. I mean, it's called the officially frozen.
I couldn't think of anything. Like I said, I was expecting to have to visit the hospital to check on my sister because she had the baby, but no.
Do you know what I found, ladies? Do you know what I found online, ladies and gentlemen? And Dakota's so happy. I'll need to send him a bag of them. Is Iron Brew bath salts?
Apparently, that's a thing. Oh.
Look, it's Oh, Galactic Stardust. Welcome and thank you for becoming a member of the channel.
Yes. Thank you to all who actually did it, and screw you to whoever rejected their membership. I'm just joking. I'm sure you had a good reason.
Yeah. Hello, Lance. Hello.
Oh, God.
But honestly, we have got a surprise for this on the 16th, guys, of this month. We have got a surprise for you, but you're going to have to wait and see what it is.
What is it? Why are you talking about that? I don't remember scheduling anything.
Aye, the 16th of this month, we've got
the 16th
all
of
about beer.
Yes.
We've got all about beer.
We're going to be drinking?
Well, I don't know if you're going to be drinking. I'm not going to be drinking. I don't drink. Only at Christmas Day I drink.
Only on special occasions, but you're not that all that hot.
I only have a special time of the year, a special time of the year. But I will say this for Alan that's watching. Alan was asked me to ask you, can you please explain paranormal crabs for Alan?
Dude, between paranormal crabs, between Smile Dog, and everything else that we went off the rails yesterday.
What? Smile Dog's good though.
There's so much we have to explain. There's a lot of people who weren't here with us when Mike was still alive, though. You got to remember that.
Well, everybody was here last night. It was in the chat. Everybody, 90%.
Well, yeah, they were very fucking confused.
And the podcast listeners, Smile Dog, ladies and gentlemen, is a fantastic picture, which we need to show you one night. And maybe we'll show you on the special show we're coming out. And honestly, it did wonders for my sleep patterns. It really did. I would just like to say thank you, Mike, the Naked Bigfoot, for that. Thank you for the experience you gave me there.
Mm-hmm.
It was strange last night, though, with the strange sounds and the voices.
That was, I know.
That, you know, it's only when Pete comes in.
Yeah, so.
It's the ghosty Mike floating the new.
Yeah, just keeping an eye on his boy. That's all.
But yeah, we'll need I think all about beer, because I want to get more into that story. See the story of how they talked about their UFO experience and that plane. That was interesting.
Yeah, that was.
It really was.
Actually, getting to hear the fucking audio from that.
I know.
That's something else. That's something else.
I'm amazed that no other bigger channel has asked him on to talk about that, because that is quite good stuff, What's that in the chat there? Lawrence, good man, Dots. How are you? Lawrence wasn't it? Lawrence was here last night, was he? Was it Lawrence here last
Yes,
night?
he was.
It was.
He was here.
Lawrence was here last night. Just the dementia. Who are you? I think I'm Canadian. I have to put a Canadian voice on for my Siri to work on my iPhone.
Do you know what that actually means, right?
No, I don't.
It's an old English way in Canada to apologize for being so annoying.
Oh, did you change my name?
No.
You bugger that you watch him. Bloody hot. Terrible. Honestly. Honestly.
What is that supposed to be?
What?
What is that supposed to mean?
I don't have a clue. It's one of an American term that he's made up.
Molester.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Please, Mike, if you want to get me something for my Christmas, please visit Dakota in the night and do terrible things to him. All in the name of science. Honestly, you can't take this guy anywhere. You honestly can't take this guy.
I had that up for at least half an hour.
Well, Alan was asking me today, what is paranormal crabs?
Paranormal crabs is a sexually transmitted disease from when you hang around this man too much.
Yep. It's what happens when you piss people off that are in the kind of spiritual realm, and then they do magic potions and they send them out to you.
Well, paranormal crabs is, I'm sure, what happens when you sit too close to someone eating nothing but bun cakes and tea.
I've not had a cup of tea for a bit. I've not had a cup of tea for a month and a half. I drink coffee.
That's an aneurysm.
I only really drink tea now and again. Honestly, I just sometimes I don't know. But it's between that and your bloody how you change for the clapping, for instance. It's like in Scotland that means something totally different.
Well, here in the US, that means something else.
Yeah, it's like in the UK, you guys in America have to take names for the UK and change them. It's like path. Let's take path, for instance. Everybody knows what a path is. It's the thing at the side of the road that you walk on. But you Americans have to make it easier to understand, so you call it sidewalk, so you know how to walk on it.
You've seen the shit us Americans have gotten into. We don't simplify it.
And then there's the one that really annoys me, that really gets down to the core, is when you call aluminium. Is when you call aluminium aluminum.
It's aluminum.
For the love of all that's fucking holy, it's aluminium.
What the fuck? I don't know what the fuck you're
honestly,
talking about.
I don't know why you have to call it that. Can't I mean, because it's got a name. Aluminium.
No, it's not. It's aluminum.
Do you ken that aluminium's actually one of the most abundant minerals on the earth? Everybody thinks it's iron, but it's actually aluminium.
Yeah, very true. Very true. It's aluminum.
Yeah. Fuck. It's bloody aluminium. I agree to you there. What's that? Tomatoes or whatever. Honestly, he's always changing names. It's like when you let's get a car, for instance. Right? We call a car boot, right? A car boot. You open it and you put your luggage in, you put your stuff in. It's called a boot. But no, you have got to change it to trunk, because you obviously a trunk is like a suitcase or something. But no,
And legitimate question. What do you UK wankers call when someone boots your car?
What do you mean? Crashes into you?
Like if someone were to put like a yellow clamp on your tire so you can't drive away.
Clamping it?
Yeah, we call that a boot.
No, it's called clamping.
It's called a boot.
It's called clamping.
It's called a boot.
We call it clamping because that is what it is. It's a clamp. It's no code. It's not a boot. A boot to us is a black thing or a brown suede thing that you put in your foot and then lace up before you
No,
get out
we
in the
call it
hills.
the boot. We're booting a car. Yeah.
See, that's just weird, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is that you would
It's
call
like
it
when
that.
you call it. It's like a car, for instance. Here's another one. Us British people
You're
call
calling yourself British?
well, no, Scottish people then, and English people and Irish people. When you get a car, you call it the hood under the engine, right?
Aye.
That's what it's called. It's called a bonnet. It's called a bonnet.
Why would
My
you
good
call it
man.
the fucking bonnet?
Because it's a bonnet. It goes up and down. It's like a hat. It's a bonnet. It covers the engine. That's
Like,
why it's
yeah, a
called
bonnet. You
the
would
bonnet.
put something on. Put something on like a little
Okay,
baby.
and this is a paranormal show, and we're talking about aluminum and
Hey,
today
you
we're
said
going to
it!
be talking about
You
plastics.
said it.
Yes,
You said it.
plastic.
You just said it. You just said it. You just said it.
What?
You said it was aluminum.
See what he's done to me? He's drove me fucking mad. He's
I
done
know
it.
it's supposed to be a paranormal show, but it's obviously a BS episode. Because God has been kind of lacking in getting guests.
Well, she's driving the wrong side of the road too. What's that all about?
What
you
is
driving
it?
the
What
right
do
side?
you get? No, we drive on the right side.
No. We drive on your side, which is the right side.
Yeah, we drive on the right side.
But you came. It really annoys me about American cars. The steering wheel's in the wrong bit.
Not if you're a
I was in one the other. Somebody's got one, an imported one, a 1986 model, like a big one of the big like Uncle Buck vehicles, and somebody taking me out in one. And I was sitting in that, and I was like, "Oh, I feel weird. I'm sitting in the driver's seat, and I've got a steering wheel."
No, we have cars over here like that. Usually, the post office uses them.
Manuals, ladies and gentlemen. I drive a manual car. Americans can't drive manuals, can't you know?
Maybe if you're old.
I remember hearing the story.
No, that's got to be more of a generational thing. You got to take into consideration that the best way to prevent your car from getting stolen these days is to have a manual.
Yeah, well, I've always driven
these wouldn't be able to drive one.
I'll say this to you: automatics are really great to drive. They're amazing to drive in the traffic, and they're amazing if you're driving up a hill because it doesn't roll back. They're great, but I get to tell a story once, and it was somebody'd come out from America and they'd get into the motor, they'd rented a car out, and of course it was a manual, and they didn't come out today. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. So a question. There was a thing I was talking to Dakota tonight before we come on live, and I want to know more about it. And Project Looking Glass. What's your opinion on it? What is your opinion on that? Do you think? Now, obviously, it's got the Stargate and all that, and there's meant to be like a seat where they can see into the future or the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's been predicted that was obviously what was it? What was that other project again? It was Fiddle Pops. It's popped out my head. That's him putting me off because it hangs aluminum. But anyway, what's that? Is MK Ultra? They used it.
Yes.
What's your opinion on that, by the way? I find that so interesting, that Project Looking Glass.
Looking Glass was actually utilized in several different projects. It was part of it was espionage. Some of it was time travel tech, like Dot said. It was also believed to be utilized in UFO detection.
What I've managed to, because I've been watching quite a lot of stuff on it, what they were saying is they found a downed UFO. Well, they found a downed UFO. They're probably given a downed UFO. And there was equipment in it because some of the UFOs fly because the person, the alien or whatever they are, they can, without touching anything, they use their mind to fly the ship. Well, they thought they could use that. So they tame that for like maybe psychic people that are psychic. So as they could see into the future, or see into the past, or change things. That's what I found interesting. How they might have changed things. Because it was actually, because it's really interesting, because we were talking about these things that the Mayans made, and they were little cylinders, and you rolled them in clay, and it told like a story. And then there was the ones for the Inca, and even further back, and it told tales of, like, in 2012 the world was going to end, right? And there is people out there that say that they used this machine to stop that from happening. They changed something.
Yeah, that part I find BS.
I find it quite strange. Look, this is what gets me, right. Now you've got Dr. Stephen Greer, right? He left Area 51. He started talking about this stuff later on, but then you get these people that come forward. Oh, I worked there 5 years ago, and I seen this, and I seen that, and I seen this, and they're talking freely, and nothing happens to them. You don't find that a bit odd? No, even the government comes down on them. Or is that deliberate? Because they want it to go there.
There is a number of different things that you have to take into consideration. There's part of it that is controlled disclosure, where certain people are given permission to freely talk about this by their superiors without any higher ups interfering. And there's also people that are sent out there to purposely talk bullshit.
Yes.
In order to throw off the ones that are being legitimate.
Yeah, I was watching a couple last night, and there was these folk, and they said they worked in Area 51. There's stuff that just didn't ring true. They were just talking about stuff, and I think they were just making it up as they went along. And that's what's wrong with the UFO community, because there is people like that.
Yeah.
I've seen people like that in the paranormal that just make stuff up.
Oh yeah.
I mean, big time make stuff up, and then they make a career of it. And you see them on telly and all that, talking about this kind of stuff, and you're like, but they're making it up. But because it sells. It sells.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a few UFOologists, famous ones out there that I don't think are real. I think they've been put in by the CIA or whoever runs everything to spew utter shit for all the mad believers run about them. And then there's people out there that talk the truth that don't get believed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why.
There's a lot of people. One thing I've noticed, especially, was that with the people that actually do speak the genuine experiences, and even if you're skeptical about it, which perfectly healthy response, especially with the types of topics that are discussed, they stick to their stories, and more often than not, enough weird shit happens around them to where even the skeptics are left scratching their heads. But one thing I've noticed is that with a lot of these people, they are so how can I put this? They're so comfortable in their little boxes.
Yeah.
That if they can't tell if someone has a drinking problem, a history of mental illness, or issues with drugs, that scares the living shit out of them. Because they can't pinpoint what's wrong with this person for them to have that type of thing. And the second that they find one little thing, they latch onto it like fucking barnacles on a sea turtle.
I mean, it's quite interesting because there is people out there that I think are amazing. Their stories they've told are amazing. You're one of them. Elena's one of them. Then there's Danny. She's one of them. And there's all the guests that Elena has on and stuff like that. And Danny has on and stuff. And I was intrigued. What was his name that was on? I think it's Elena or Danny's show, and talking about how he was on Mars and then he was brought back and his memory was wiped. And that creeped me out because I actually had goosebumps when I was listening to him. Because it was,
And that one thing I liked about Tony is that he actually tries to find evidence to prove that he's not totally crazy, and he's had shit pop up where it deliberately looks like somebody is trying to set him off on a mental downward spiral.
I will say that there is a lot of trolls out there, and they go after like Elena, and they go after like Danny and stuff like that, and attack them for no apparent reason. I think I'll tell you something right now. I wouldn't be surprised if they were working for the government. Honestly, if they're trying to put them off. Honestly, I think to try and put them off. I think the truth with the UFOs has got to come out more and more and more, and I think they should be turning to people like that, Mayor. It's like these Senate hearings about the UFOs and that. They should be speaking to folk like Elena or like Danny or like you or like the guy from Mars and stuff like that, instead of just talking to folk that work there. See, this is the madness here. Maybe they
That's the
will. I don't know. Maybe they will start talking about it
I
one
know
day.
the RO office. That's one thing I've always got kind of thrown off about. It's like, okay, I understand the idea that you're only wanting to focus in on like airline pilots and government workers.
Mm-hmm.
You want people to have the access to the shit you want to know about because you know that something is going on behind the scenes that the rest of the government does not have access to. And
Yeah.
something that Eisenhower was ticked off about. Kennedy likely got shot over it. It's been going on for years, and they're trying to dig that up. I understand the thought process, but you're leaving out so much
Yeah.
of the demographic of people who are having legitimate experiences. Where the only exception with these people is that they may not have any expertise to really understand what the hell happened to them. And for fuck's sake, there's Pentagon reports that fully admit that the abductions have taken place and mysterious pregnancies have also emerged.
Yeah.
They're coming out and saying it. It's
But
happening.
there's people out there who'll go, but there's no evidence like Elena and you and all that same. But there is evidence. There is
Yeah, there
evidence,
is.
and this is the evidence. This is the evidence I see as somebody that's been looking at this for a while and watching you unfold and stuff like that. You've got memories that Elena knows, and Elena's got memories that you know, which is strange. It's like you've seen her up there. She's seen you up there.
I have the
People,
emails to prove it.
you've said maybe something, and then she's went, "Oh, but that's happened to me." The same kind of thing, and you have said it. I mean, you look what happened when we first met Elena, right? Look at the weird shit that happened, right?
Look at how bad I was frozen like a damn deer in headlights because I was so much in shock.
Mm-hmm. I think there's folk out there that don't believe this stuff, right? And I can quite understand it. But I can tell you something now, guys, that is real. I've tried to kind of shuffle away from it a wee bit because it kind of spooked me. It did. It kind of spooked me. It kind of, I don't know if it done something to me, but it's made me weird, right?
Trust me.
I've tried to kind of blow. Maybe I shouldn't have. I've blocked it off, and I shouldn't have maybe do that. I shouldn't do it, and that's maybe why I've got all mixed up and stuff like that. But I've tried to just stay away from it now. But it's weird because I can picture that time. I can picture that first experience I had. That we all experienced the same dream. Everyone is. It wasn't just me and Dakota. There was others there that experienced the same thing.
Yeah.
So I honestly don't know what's going on. I really don't know what's going on. I don't know why they pick certain people. That's what I don't get. That's the only one thing I don't get. Why do they pick some people that like shy away and they don't want to talk about it? But eventually,
allegedly, that is to simply sort of like implant the thoughts and ideas behind all this type of stuff into the planetary matrix so it leaks out into other people.
yeah.
That's
So
allegedly.
it's like them giving me the experience, but I maybe know 100%. Like I don't know what to do with that, right? Because I'm like, oh, what's happening here? And I'm just weird about it. But I go to somebody and I say, "Ken something? Aliens exist, by the way. Aliens exist." And then that person thinks, "Well, aliens exist," and then they'll look into it, and it starts like a chain reaction kind of thing. Is that what you're going to mean?
Part of it, but there's actually been some interesting experiments. There was, I can't remember exactly where this was done, but say they brought a random group of people in, showed them this picture, and asked them to identify how many faces are in this picture, right? And maybe some of them would get at least 5 of the faces. So they're all right, thank you, have a nice day. They bring in another group, show them the exact same picture, ask them how many faces they can find. then physically point out where all the faces are.
Yeah.
Then, all right, they bring back the first group. And they will bring back the first group, and they also bring back all the other, a few different other groups. All of a sudden, all these different groups are able to find every single face, even though none of them were supposed to have any sort of contact.
See, that's interesting. That is
That's what I'm saying,
interesting.
is that the very thought gets into one person, and something about how that person thinks and feels, it reverberates through the ether, affects other people, it affects their mindset, then slowly but surely, more and more people get to be more accepting of these things. That's why they say you have like soft disclosure in the media.
Mm-hmm.
It introduces the ideas to the populace, so that way they're a little bit more open minded about it.
I mean, it's like when the Pentagon first came out with all that stuff. I was shocked about how the internet took it. Nobody cared. Nobody cared.
Well,
All the ufologists are like, oh, this is gonna... But all the normal folk are just like, oh, aliens exist. Oh, do you want to see my new dance? That kind of thing. And I'm like,
yeah, that was anticlimactic, but it could very well be that was by design. Is that right now, right as all those revelations are coming forward, we have shortages, inflation affecting everybody. People are just trying to figure out how the hell they're making it to the next paycheck, or if they're getting another paycheck at this rate.
I don't know what's going to happen. I honestly, do you know, I think the UFO sightings have been kind of dying doing a wee bit lately. There is a lot of fake ones out there, especially on TikTok and that, but you can usually tell because the CGI is utter shit. But do you know, I think the UFO sightings have been kind of quieting down lately.
I think you have to take into consideration. Notice how it always seems like sightings kick up in the summer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you're going to have more people out and about. It's warm, it's nice. People don't want to stay in the house all day. But now, at least here in the northern hemisphere, we got snowstorms. It's freezing
Mm-hmm.
over. You can't go 5 minutes without somebody ending up in a ditch because they think their four-wheel drive is
Oh,
keeping
I
them
know.
safe on the road. Nope, people aren't wanting to focus up. Plus, the weather doesn't exactly accommodate looking for UFOs unless, for some reason, that craft is coming down awfully low. Then you got something else going on. But like you said, there's even AI is getting to a point where the videos can be completely generated
Oh, that's
just with a
spooky.
few
That.
words.
Mm-hmm.
And the quality of the shit that it's making is amazing.
Did you see that what Turco Carrison said the other day? He was getting interviewed and he said about the elites and he says they think they're the Nephilim.
Mm.
He actually came out and said it.
Actually,
Yeah.
did you know there's been declassified documents from the Clinton administration talking about invading Iraq because, and there's several references to Nephilim.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I see Lawrence in the chat put their Stargate found in Iraq years ago.
Yeah, no, we kind of blew him off about that one. I was trying to loop that in finally.
I try to look that in. But I will say this, and I've noticed this. You used to get quite a lot of it online, but you don't hear about much of it anymore. As abductions have went down. Now, why is that? Is that because the greys have been dealt with?
The ones causing
And
the majority of the abductions were gone.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Some of the
Now,
greys are all right, but some of them aren't. It's a kind of
the ones
spickle
that
kind of
genuinely
people.
worry about are gone. And there's going to be people that say, oh, they're not gone. They're still here. They're still affecting people. You got to realize the human mind is one of the most powerful but dangerous things on the
Oh, aye.
planet. And if it's been affected by something like that, it can recreate circumstances that feel very real. It can happen. And maybe putting the fear in that you're still being attacked, you're still being abducted by
Mm-hmm.
these things, opens the door so you have even more legitimate attacks start slamming on you. and no one will believe you.
But I will say this. There's a lot of folk online and YouTubers and TikTok going on about the bad ones as if they're good. And then I'm like, I just sat and watched them and I'm like, Jesus, why do this? And they've got like hundreds of folk in the chat saying, oh yes, we love the Greys and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like sometimes Ken something, they've got all these views, they've got like 500,000 subscribers. Sometimes I feel to myself, these like CIA implants that they're trying to do this deliberately. You see where I'm going with this?
It's not going to directly reflect on the CIA. There are agencies out there that are funded by cash donations from government agencies. This can be validated, that pay for social media influencers, and that came out big when Biden took office.
Yeah. Okay, what I find interesting that your signal is not dropping, but your thing keeps freezing, and it's freezing for my phone, but it's also freezing when you're talking about this.
No, it's nothing new.
No, it's nothing. It's not as if we've got like the knowledge of the universe and we're talking about it. But it's like
But they also know that we've actually dealt with the real shit.
Well, you've dealt with the real shit. I've experienced it. But there's a cat agreeing with me. That isn't the odd one with the odd paw, is it?
No, that would be one of the new ones who is trying to claw out the back of my chair.
You're surrounded by cats. I've noticed that. A lot of you guys that are into the UFOs and that are surrounded by cats. I've noticed that.
What's kind of weird about
You got
that,
a flicker?
though? They say that cats have a parasite in their stool that makes people like them. So if all these people that have dealt with UFOs are cat lovers.
You could have, what's it called at Marvel? What is it? A flicker? A fluker or whatever?
A flurkin?
A flurkin. That's what it could be, I'm telling you. You could have a flurkin. Have you seen the new episode? Marvel, you seen the new one? And they're all aboard the spaceship, and the spaceship's got to crash, but they've only got enough life rafts they've only got one life raft. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen the new one.
Well, I'll tell you.
I haven't really watched Marvel movies since Endgame.
Well, quick story short, they're in this spaceship, and I'm not going to tell you what exactly happens to the spaceship. There's like a crew of 300, right? Something's going to happen to the spaceship, right? And they need to get the crew off, right? But they've only got one escape pod, right? But luckily, the Flurkins, luckily there's 35 Flurkins on board the ship. So they tell the head cat, see the one that hangs about the guy with the patch. Yeah. He says, right, get your pals to eat the crew. So they all eat the crew, and then all the cats climb aboard the space pod, and it gets ejected, and it lands on a planet, and the door opens, and all the cats come running out and then start regurgitating. They're alive. They're still alive, but they start regurgitating everything. It's mad. It's the maddest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
I also know that at some point they go through an alternate reality that introduces the X-Men.
Yeah, it's one of the most maddest movies in the history of mankind. You know?
Yeah, like I said, I haven't really watched Marvel movies since Endgame.
But it's like, look, I will say this: cats are strange animals. I will say that, and they are very mystical. Yeah, here's something I bet you didn't ken. You maybe do ken this, right? And this is nothing to do with UFOs or spirits or anything like that. This is actually quite gory. How long do you think it takes from a cat eating someone if they die in their house?
Matter of days.
Actually, no. As soon as you're called. They'll start eating you.
I know.
The different dogs will wait for like 3 days before they'll. I learned that the other day. It was somebody I know works for crime investigation thing, right? And I get into a conversation with him, and we're talking about cats, and he was telling us a story about how we had to get into a house that they'd found a body in, and he says it's actual fact, cats will start eating you as soon as you're cold. That's weird, though, isn't it? But you think that because the Egyptians used them to like protect the tombs and all that because they do see spirits.
I know.
Dakota's got to be lying the night. Feel something nibbling in his tail. What's that in the chat? Dots MC nuts. Sorry, lads, have to go. Early start in the morning. Take care of it. Goodbye, lads.
All right, have a good one, Lawrence. You know, catch the playback.
But it's
jag off. Just kidding.
But I will say, look, cats are weird, and I'm going to say that right now. Cats are really weird. Do you ken there's one? My neighbours up the road have got this Persian thing. It's got a name. I can't remember. But Jenny will be able to help me. It's this weird. It's like a Persian cat. It looks like the cat you ever seen Alice in Wonderland, and there's the mad cat with the kind of fluff. You get them with Persian kind of cat.
Cheshire cat, yeah.
Like that, like a Cheshire cat, but much, much bigger, right? It's a lazy bastard, right? Do you ken it'll lie in the main road and all the traffic have to go round about it? I'm serious. It just lies in the middle of the road and goes to sleep. And you'll have lorries and everything trying to get round about it.
Sounds like my cats.
Yeah. Yeah. What's that galactic star? Dust sealants. So what other UFO news is in the world, Dakota? What other strange things are happening?
Well, we have the death of Henry Kissinger.
I heard about that.
Right. No, there's a lot of movement when it comes to the UFO disclosures, and that people fully believe could actually open the doors a lot quicker for the government to just come out and fucking say everything.
Yeah. I wish they would. I wished I could wake up the morning and they would come out and say, listen, ETs are here. Here they're here. Here they're all stunning. By the way, the Federation will be landing at 12 o'clock today in the White House lawn. They're bringing new technology. They've got to save the planet. We've got to cure cancer. And within 10 years, we'll be traveling among the stars. But that's not going to happen. It's going to be
no, they fully admitted to their secret programs that have been around since at least like the 70s.
That's what fascinates me. The secret space program. How there's a breakaway civilization to the Earth. How many is there?
There's several.
So you're telling me that
French
there's like
have their own, the US have their own, the Russians, the Chinese, the ancient Mayans had their own.
So you're telling me they're out there right now watching us?
It's been well aware of now, and they've actually come out and admitted to it. There's declassified documents that admit to it, that it's out there.
So what do the American ones call themselves?
The primarily American ones, solar born, but there's international treaties where all countries contribute.
See, that's weird. I mean, imagine keeping that hidden for us. Why? What's the point of doing it?
They had to.
What, do they not want civilization? Do they not want Earth to go into the stars or something?
They don't want to know what's out there that can eat them.
I'd be so what? Of course, there's got to be creatures out there that eat you. I would love to be in a spaceship that knew flying, nosing around about the galaxy. There's going to be creatures out there that's got to eat you, but it's like the first explorers, you know what I mean? Think of the money to be made. The gold, silver.
That's going to be the ordeal. Money's not going to be a factor anymore.
I still need resources.
So you'll still need the resources, absolutely, but it's not going to be a major factor anymore.
But we still need like titanium to build ships and stuff like that. I mean, titanium and gold and silver and diamonds and stuff like that.
Certain projects were only brought to light because it was absolutely necessary.
But as soon as as soon as this planet is aware that you could probably go anywhere you want in this galaxy, people will start wanting to build ships. Let's face it.
That's
They'll
the
want
thing.
to.
Will they?
Well, look at Elon Musk.
Well, Elon's Elon.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing, though. Look at some of these UFO forums. How many people still have no clue what the hell Starlink is?
I know. I've
Every
seen that.
other
I've seen it.
UFO report that comes through, they say, "Oh, I seen this train of lights in the sky. I don't know what it is. It's an alien invasion." I was like, "That's Elon Musk."
That's Elon Musk. It's like his new phone that he's making. He's got to be taken out of the iPhone market because he's making his own phone, and it's connected to Starlink, and it doesn't matter where you are on the planet, you will get a reception. Anywhere you are, you could be in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle in a dinghy, and you would get a reception.
Apparently, it also generate Dogecoin.
Mm-hmm. But eventually, civilization on this planet is going to have to break away from this Earth. It's only a matter of time. Come on, we're using resources up like we're going out of fashion, right? Look at lithium, titanium, gold.
Here's the thing. We got to simply break away. What's going to guarantee we don't fuck up the next world we find, and the one after that, and the one after that, because we don't fucking learn how to control ourselves.
But that takes time. That takes time to learn.
That takes people pulling their heads out of their asses and being willing to learn.
Aye, but if you say, right, listen, we've built this engine, it'll take us to Proxima Centauri within 5 years. We're going to colonize that, and do that, and do it. If there's problems, there's problems. We have to learn, because let's face it. Because when the day come, and they will come, the Federation and that, when the day come down eventually, which I hope is soon, they're going to have to trust us at one point. We're going to have to say, right, listen, here's an engine here. This will get you to the nearest planet in a couple of months, kind of thing.
That's why we're in a 50-year probation period.
They'll watch us like a hawk. They'll watch us like a hawk.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's folk out there thinking, oh, that engine there, that'll take me to Proxima Centauri in 5 months. But it makes me wonder, what does it power? I can make a weapon out of that. Because there will be people that think that.
And unfortunately, despite what a lot of people think, and it's something that I see quite a bit of, no matter what happens next, there's always going to be the need for a military force to have a presence. There's always going to be a conflict.
No, I'm going to say this. You need some type of military stance. I'm going to say this now. I know I like the idea of the Star Trek. I'm a kind of Trekkie, right? I like Star Trek and stuff like that. Right? And I like the idea that they're explorers, but they're also protectors. Right? That's what they do. I like that. I think we should abolish navies, air forces, armies. I think we should abolish all of that. Totally abolish it. And have the people that are going out exploring are also the protectors. You see where I'm going with this? They're no military and they're no civilian. They're just a federation. Is that not how it works with the Galactic Federation? Is that not how it works with them? Because it's different worlds. Because what are they? Because obviously they've got a military stance, have they not?
The Federation is military.
Well, there you go. Then you're saying that we shouldn't have military stance, but they are a military stance.
They
so
are.
Why can we not have the same as them? If we start our own federation, or do we join them and then they help protect this planet while we go to another planet? So on.
Once we have full membership, we will have full access to benefits.
When do you think it'll happen? Everybody's saying in 6 months or something like that, something's going to happen, but I don't know what that's going to be.
There's some that say 6 months. There's other sources that try to say about 2027. There's some that'll say within the next 10, some will say next 50 years. It's going to be a slow drip.
What's that Dots is saying there in the chat? The hub at Jupiter will always need protection. What's the hub? What's the hub?
Not that hub, Chris.
No. I'm just saying. No, but what is that? Was it a space station or something? What is that?
In a matter of speaking.
Or is it a moon? What is it?
It has to take control on the moons.
So why is it at Jupiter then? There's nothing there except for a gas giant, or is there something else?
There is shit there. There is a lot there.
I do believe there's a lot of other planets in this solar system that we can't see, but they're colonized.
No, there's life on Jupiter. There's life on just about every planet in the solar system. Some of them we can't physically see because of how the universe works, but there is a hub towards Jupiter that is mainly controlled by the Earth Alliance, as well as some of our allies, that helps deal with our affairs. It's in a matter of speaking, it's yes, there's a big portal there. There's the huge portal there. There's several magnetic anomalies that actually attract meteors through that section.
Well, why? That planet itself got a gravitational pull in it.
It's where some try to say it's a failed star. Yeah.
That's right. It's a big portal, so is that like a jump gate then? Is that like something where you could put a ship through and it would take you somewhere?
Yeah. It's one of the main ones.
But it makes you, I mean, how many would you say? How many bad?
You control the portals, you control the solar system.
See, that's how I always wondered that. It makes you wonder how much life there is out there, the other galaxies that's out there. I wonder how many galaxies have been colonized, explored, I mean.
Nearly all of them.
All of them? But there's trillions of them. I mean, that would take ridiculously long amount of time.
And the only limitations we know of life's potential is the small fraction of what we see of life here on Earth. We have sharks that are completely adapted to live inside volcanoes.
That's right.
Active volcanoes.
Look at
99% of the creatures coming out of Australia and some of the weird shit they can do.
Look at that in the deepest part of the ocean where you've got the volcanoes coming up. There's life living round about they've grew, they've got no eyes, they've got no ears, and they live round about the heat coming out of the core of the earth. I mean, but they don't need to see because it's pitch black. But that's amazing, that.
The water's so dense out there that light can't penetrate. Alexa, shut up.
Yours is doing it now. What was it telling you?
I don't know.
And there's Dots in the chat, black smokers. Aye. You know? Yeah. That's the CIA. Right, they're like, Roger, let's go and get them. We'll take him back to the base for interrogation. Get the anal probe out. Bring the Vaseline.
Yeah. I'd rather the KGB method.
What's that?
First weapon of the KGB is sex.
Really? I have Russian secrets that I can't divulge. You'll have to come and take me away, KGB. That's terrible. You probably sit at night, deliberately typing, man, like secrets of the KGB internet, hoping that they catch that kind of stuff and they'll come and abduct you.
Do you know how many times you have slammed Russia while on a live? Then the next live I do by myself, it's nothing but Russian women.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Some Russian women coming in. What's wrong with that?
They're very headstrong women, I will say that.
Well, I'm going to see what happens when I do this. I'm going to see. I'm going to do this. I'm just going to do this and see what happens. I think Russia's an amazing country, and I also think North Korea is awesome. Right. Let's see what happens now. You'll get Kim Jong Un in your chat.
You do realize Kim Jong Un has his own concubine force, right? He literally rounds up the more beautiful women in North Korea for their his and his officers' own pleasure. Seriously, figures that I would know that, huh?
Here's the Galactic Stardust. My Surrey will pick up weird times too.
No, my Alexa would just tell me if she was recorded any voices that aren't mine in the middle of the night. That would be amazing.
Dos Vidania. I'm climbing in the window as we speak, Commander. I'll be like one of the big. You ever seen that film Zoolander? And he goes to the spa and there's that crazy Russian nurse. That's what she'll be like. You'll wake up to that.
But the route is in the voce.
But look, it makes you wonder who's watching this. I mean, it makes you wonder if there's any aliens watching this. Or in the future. In the future, they'll be watching us. Hello! Beam me up! Yeah. I wonder what they think he is too. Like, oh my god, they two are fucking idiots.
Well, mine usually just rolled her eyes at me and say, "Okay, Dad."
That's something I kind of get. How time doesn't work up there, but it works down here.
Time is only affected the way we know it when you're in the gravitational pull of a large enough body.
So you're telling me if I was floating in deep space with nothing round about me, time wouldn't exist?
Time does exist. It just doesn't. It's not affected by the gravity of your body. Time is affected by everything that it has to move around. Technically, me being a bigger guy, I perceive time slower than someone who's really short.
Or it's the scenario of if you set your watch at 4 p.m. and I set my watch at 4 p.m. and then I go into a rocket and went into space and flew around about Earth, then come back again, my clock would be, in theory, would be in front of yours by a couple of minutes or whatever.
That's because you're pushing the flow.
See,
again, people always seem confused when I say this. Time is not a river; it's an ocean. It's water. It's fluid. It's the easiest way I can explain how it works. Everything that's in the water affects the flow.
So is there any way affecting the flow so you can go back in time?
Yeah.
And then rejoin time again. We're going into like Thanos here and all that kind of getting the stones and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The multiverse and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So in theory, right, say time's a river flowing in front of me now. I could build like a culvert into that with some type of machine to divert a stream of time off somewhere and then join that. Get what I need, come out of that, and then relit it join again, then go back into it.
Yeah.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Time travel.
All you got to remember when it comes to time travel is that Back to the Future is bullshit.
You can't have to get 88. I'm amazed that car did 88 miles an hour anyway.
Hey, those DeLoreans, man.
Well, they're made the different parts of cars. That's what people don't know. Different parts of cars in them.
I've always wanted one.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you all start donating to building bunkers.
Because John DeLorean, the man who designed it, was actually a taller guy. He was 6'5".
I nearly said it's stainless steel body. I nearly said aluminum there, but then I went, it's a stainless steel body. It's going up.
Still said aluminum.
I know. Fucking Americans, you've done it to me again.
I broke him.
See, God, what are the UFOs made of, by the way? See some of the ones that's made out of metal. What are they made out of?
Time travel. I'll tell you about it last week.
Oh
Dots.
I wished I had a time machine. I would go forward. I would see what the Euro Millions results are on Tuesday because it's nearly $200 million. Then I would come back and put them on.
With that, because you did that, you affected the flow and therefore affected the outcome of the lotto numbers.
Aye, but I would still win the lottery because then I would know what they were.
No, it would affect the numbers that would be generated and pick the wrong ones.
But no, because I would go forward in time. I would go, oh, these are the
because
numbers.
you
I'd write them
went
down,
through time.
and then I'd come back.
Because you
So
went
you're
through
telling me I
time, you
can't cheat in the lottery here? That's terrible.
Trust me, I've tried.
So you're telling me you can't do that?
Because think about it. If water is fluid, then something that's small enough in it can also be affected by its motion. It's still flowing no matter what.
But that shouldn't. But that shouldn't affect.
When it comes to lottery, that's a game of probability. Each number combination is a different probability, therefore a different branch of the multiverse.
All right, then what would happen if I went forward in time and went to somebody I didn't like, punched them in the square in the face, and then come back to this realm? What would happen?
Technically nothing.
Oh, so there you go. You can get away with like punching somebody in the face, but you can't get the lottery numbers.
Because the probabilities are smaller.
So you can go forward in time and steal something then and bring it back to the present.
In theory, yes.
But would that no duplicate it?
In theory, yes.
So in theory, you could go forward in time to Fort Knox, steal all the gold, right? Bring it back to the new, right? I've just gave him an idea for something, by the way. And in theory, you wouldn't have stole the gold because it was duplicated. I think he's froze, ladies and gentlemen. Dakota! Oh my goodness me, ladies and gentlemen, he's froze. He's been took. He's been took, ladies and gentlemen. The Galactic Federation have took him. That's weird when that happens. It really is. What's that, Dots? Time travel. I'll tell you about it last week. That was a good one. You should watch the Umbrella Academy. I'll have a look at that. Never Dakota's away. Very strange, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give it a couple of minutes here. We'll give it a couple of minutes and see if he comes back in. So how are you all in the chat tonight, ladies and gentlemen, while we wait on the... Because we have 10 watching. Where are you all from? I know Dots is from Ireland. Where are you all from? Please put in the chat where you're from. That's weird. He just disappeared. It's a good job of that because it's nearly the end of the show. Can you write in the chat to see if you can still hear me? Because I don't. It's went for weird for me in the chat. Very strange that was. Northeast Eastern USA. Wow. I'll bring you up there. Northeastern USA. I'm just checking to see if he's left me a message. He's not even online. I think his internet's went out, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the show, guys. I think he's been abducted by the aliens, you know. Oh, it's Louise. I didn't ken that was you in Ireland. Hi. Did you know? So I'm going to end this show because we're at an hour anyway. And we'll see you all next weekend. Oh, he's back. He's back. Just getting ready to end the show.
God damn TVA.
Was that the TVA then? You okay or something?
Authority. I don't know what the hell just happened, man.
That was weird when I was asking you that question. as a last year again, before I was going to end the show. So you could divert the river, go forward in time, right? Steal all the gold out of Fort Knox, bring it back to the present, right? And in theory, when the next day comes round where you've went and stole the gold, it's duplicated back in there and you've no stole that gold, but you've got gold. Am I right?
Yes.
So why don't they do that?
Ethical reasons.
Why? It's a great idea. You
They're
mean you want to
also
win the lottery?
Their technology is also to where they can replicate the materials they need on the spot.
I was just gold, man.
They can replicate.
But I can't replicate it.
If you can readily replicate something, that immediately deteriorates its value.
That's very true. But obviously, the price of something like that to even create a machine to do that would be so expensive it wouldn't be worth it.
It's a lot more profitable just to keep the population in check.
That's interesting, that, because if there was a big terrorist attack, you could go forward in time, you could see if there was a terrorist attack, and then you could come back. But I can't wrap my mind around about this time travel push, by the way. You just pick up my brain after make me say aluminum.
It's one of those things you don't want to think about because even the most brilliant minds can't handle it.
It's weird, that, isn't it? But here's a question, right? Here's a question before the end of the show tonight. Where did everything come from?
That's a very good
Everybody
question.
says there was the Big Bang. Everybody says there was the Big Bang. Is there any alien races out there that have figured it out? If the universe came for a pop, right? And again, this is that there must have been something there to make that pop, right? Where did it all come from? There's bound to be extraterrestrials out there that have sat down and thought about this over millions of years and tried to figure it out.
Here's the thing, though. There's certain branches of the Federation who build planets, quite literally. They figured out they figured out the necessary equations to create planets, to create new life. If they're able to figure that out, who's to say someone didn't beat them to it? And it's just the children mastering what the parent had already known.
See, I think it's mere. I think it's where we come from in spiritual form, the afterlife, or whatever you want to call it. I think they created all of this for us, right? And who's to say when you go back there that they all think that somebody created that, and it goes on, and it goes on, and it goes on, and it goes on, and it goes on for infinity.
Because it's an infinite loop.
Mm-hmm. No, the Earth one day will be swallowed by the sun. I don't think it's got to be recreated again.
Who's to say creation itself is just nothing more but a loop?
So after 600 trillion billion yillion years, right, the universe explodes and begins again, and everything repeats itself.
Who's to say?
See, that's
Who can prove it wrong?
It's madness. It's madness because if you ever sit and really think about it, it can give you a migraine. You're sitting here, you're on a planet, you're whizzing through the solar system, and to think round about you, there's nothing out there, but there is other things out there. To think how small you and insignificant you are at this moment.
Yet at the same time,
everybody.
You realize your genuine potential, how truly significant you actually are.
Oh, it's life. I mean, you just need to look at some worlds out there where there's nothing on them. But then again, It was probably an advanced civilization that created us. They thought, oh, let's have an experiment. Let's create the Earth. And now they're sitting thinking, oh, like, fuck, what have we done? You know?
Who's to say that every aspect of creation, aspect of source, withholds a universe within itself in the process of infinitely repeating? Every thought you manifest, every fantasy you ever have, every character you ever make up, every imaginary friend, in fact, does materialize, and in its own universe, it could potentially interact with our own.
You're getting deep. Really deep.
I know. This is one of those things that, like,
I'm sitting here thinking.
Some people are like, Dakota, did you start smoking
even
something?
Even Pete here's like, what you on? I don't know what you're talking about.
Think about it. You have the phenomenon of Tulpa's thought forms being sentient life being created from mere thought and meditation practices. You have ETs who teach entire courses and equations on how to create worlds and life.
Right.
It's already there.
But here's one for you. You talk about Tulpas and stuff like that. Like the Hat Man and creatures like that, right? I had to mention him. I don't know why I did that, but I had to mention because people are thinking about him and brought him to life and stuff like that, or like Slender Man. So why is it no happened with Jesus? Because the origins in the world, or the billions that believe in Jesus. Why is no brought him into existence?
Because they can't agree on who the hell Jesus is.
Exactly. He could have been a wee guy with one leg for all we can.
Whereas there is proof that's just that there was a guy out there named Yeshua who did do some miracles. But you also got to consider people suck when it comes to keeping record of events. They do.
Mm-hmm.
So who's to say there wasn't more than one guy named Yeshua who all had tricks up their sleeves, and because people don't want to actually dig into the bottom of the story, all those different dudes end up blended into one.
Mm-hmm.
To where even if you were to have Yeshua materialize out of thin air, sit down next to you, even he's going, I don't know where the fuck they got that.
My brain is pickled between aluminum and American Science and now time itself. It's the Twilight Zone, ladies and gentlemen. Do not adjust your smartphone. You should come over with a big glass ball and it's to tell everybody yes, and then there's a time. We're in
I have a crystal ball somewhere.
Oh, you would have a fucking crystal ball.
A little black one.
You don't get two of them, no? Both hands. Oh my God.
Naughty.
I'm sorry. End the show. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next week before I turn into a raving lunatic. I'm going to my bed to dream about the infinite space, the time continuum. If you see me in your dream world, run as fast as possible.
Oh, that's actually a topic we can go into for another show now that I think about it.
What?
But we'll talk about it later.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe anywhere you see Bald and Bonkers for even more insanity. Be sure to spread the love to the Bald and Bonkers boys' other endeavors. And a special thank you to our audience, guests, and everyone else who helps make this crazy ride happen. Amazing things are ahead. Learn more by visiting www.baldandbonkers.net. See you next time. Much love and take care.
You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch.
Oh, come on. I feel offended. What?
Fuck it. We're still fucking live.
Well, I know we're still live.